So I was gonna shower and do my hair and makeup and take some more time to write out my thoughts and speak a little more eloquently. And I realized that it's more important that I speak just from my heart on this. The too long didn't watch version is that Reliquarian House is now supporting DEI members by offering free residencies here. If you fit the DEI categories, you cannot pay to be here as an artist, writer, or musician. I've been thinking about this for the last couple of days. I've been thinking about it because I'm scared, because they are blocking grant writing now that include words like women, like minority, like diversity, like adversity, like disabled, like trans. Meaning the AI algorithm blocks your grant and puts it in a no pile, and it never actually gets in front of a human for consideration, which means there's not going to be much funding this year since our entire nonprofit is based around that. It also is a really scary time for pretty much everyone, whatever your views, whatever your politics, whatever your demographics, in a country that is soaring in inflation and is dealing with that by picking on the countries that are supposed to be our allies and making them enemies instead. And so I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the lack of funding, and I'm looking at the potential that we could be in an economic, if not a civil or world war before the end of the year. That is even a possibility is both heartbreaking and terrifying. And it makes sense that the realistic and the logical thing to do would be to sell the house, to cut losses right now while the housing market is still stable, and to take the profits from that and survive this storm, and then regroup and look at building in the future while maintaining and keeping my assets safe. And I realize that that is the driving motivation for everyone in power right now. Their personal profits, their personal stability, their advantages, their safety over everybody else in the world, and I will not be complicit in that. I would rather lose everything. I am about $200,000 into this house when you add up the investment over the last 2 years. And I am 7 years into the vision of this project and the work that I have put in night and day to bring this to life. And I am all in with all of that. I would rather lose all of that than be one of the people that stood by and did nothing. So for the rest of 2025, for as long as I am able to offer it, even if it means losing it in the end, all residencies for artists, writers, and musicians are now free. You cannot pay to be here. We will be offering 3-day residencies for you to come in, and all you have to do is DM me. You can come in, you can stay. We will talk about your work and what you are trying to do in the world. You are welcome to bring whatever materials you have. You are welcome to use the facilities and the grounds here. After a 3-day residency, you are welcome to apply for one of our full-length residencies. You cannot pay for either one. As far as needing the funding and being more quiet and changing our wording and our stance and our mission statement for what we do to try to appeal to people that are trying to cut out the work that we are doing instead of masquerading as something that we're not, to try to get funding, I am in faith of humanity. I see you and I see the work that you're doing and I see the difference that you are making. And I know that you feel as frustrated as I do that there isn't anything you can do, but this is what we do. All donations made by anyone go towards the residencies and the maintaining of this house. I do not take a salary. None of the other board members take a salary. This is entirely a volunteer-based nonprofit. All of the funds go to the house, to education, resources, and residencies for writers, artists, musicians, performers, and other creatives. We are expecting and have decided as a board to follow the DEI guidelines of 80-20. That 20% is all that DEI wanted. They just wanted 2 out of every 10 people to be something other than straight white male. That is not diversity and inclusion, by the way. If we're talking about 10 hires, 10 students, 10 residents, at minimum, it should be 5 and 5. That would be equality, men and women. We're not even taking into consideration the trans community because we'll go ahead and group them in whatever gender that they align with and say, so 5 and 5. Of those 5 and 5, now we start to add in all the different ethnicities and religions and spiritualities and sexual orientations and sexual attractions and ability diversity and everything else into that. So, Reliquarian House will be expecting 80% as recommended by DEI, except for we're flipping it. We expect that 80% of our attendees to Reliquarian House this year will fit the DEI narrative. If this feels like you, if you are an artist, a writer, a musician, a performer, whatever your arts, if you cook and bake, if you knit, if you crochet, if you sew clothes, if you are a glass blower, a blacksmith, if you love gardening, whatever your creativity and your art is, wherever that lies, and you feel called to this and you want to come spend a couple days in a beautiful Victorian mansion and a historic home that sits against one of the national parks that they are trying to sell off the acreage of for profit and timber, then you come be here, come home to us. We love you here. We love you here. You're safe here. You're welcome here. Always, for as long as I have this place. And if that feels in alignment with your personal values and character and the kind of humanity that you think that you are building, we do not need the billionaires. We do not need the politicians. We can do this right now in our own community. You can help by liking, sharing, and commenting on this video and sending it to your creative friends. That's all you have to do. Support the arts. Support humanity, support our communities, support our neighbors, support our loved ones, support the human race. Support peace and the right to live in a way that you feel safe and loved and cared for. That is the world I'm creating. If that feels like home to you, then it's time to come home. DM me and let's have a conversation.